Welcome back to Championship Court. It is time for our second semifinal matchup of the morning between the California BLQK Bears taking on the New Jersey 5's, who had the #1 overall pick in the draft. They took, of course, Leigh Waters, as she looks to help her team punch their ticket to the championship round. And if you're new here or new this weekend, let's check out a recap of the action we have seen so far from MLP by Margaritaville here in Daytona Beach. It has been incredible, and the quarterfinal rounds started yesterday. We had a couple of heated matchups there. The New York Hustlers, one of those teams that were expected to maybe make it to the semifinal round. They didn't, and so the New Jersey 5's seeking some revenge from MLP Mesa. They were knocked out of the quarterfinal round in Mesa. They punched their ticket to the semifinals this tournament. Are we running the video or what? As we mentioned, we will take a look at a recap over the weekend of the action that has brought us here this far. Major League Pickleball leveling up the game as we listen in now on the coin toss between the 5's and the Bears.
As their first choice. Would you like to choose home, visitor, serve, receive, or choose them? Jersey 5's have chosen home. Would you like to serve, receive, or choose them? Starting on my right. Serve, or receive. Jersey 5's have chosen to serve. Thank you.
Ladies, I want to say something interesting. I talked to Andrea Koop a minute or two ago, and she was wondering if they won the toss, if she should take end or the home team. We've seen almost every team choose the home team so they can react to mixed doubles, but we have had some issues on the near end of the court with players being able to see the ball a little less well from the near end of the court. So the fact that she was even considering winning the toss and not taking the home team is a really big factor. She's played on this court earlier, so she knows the sight line, so that is something we need to monitor throughout the match.
And by the near end of the court, you're referencing the side that is the bench of the Black Bears?
Correct.
I'm assuming.
Exactly right. So the side of Maggie, Brascia, and Leigh Jansen at this current moment
is the better side or the tougher side?
No, it is the tougher side. It is the tougher side. So you are wondering possibly of ending on the far end of the court, so you do not have those vision issues to end the match.
Well, has anyone chosen away to this point?
I don't.
In Major League Pickleball history?
Oh, Tim Klitsch did it. Okay.
He chose away because he wanted to select the matchups for the Dreambreaker.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay.
For the Texas Ranchers. So there has been, and his son back home was advised advising him to do that. He said, pick away. You want to pick your Dreambreaker matchup.
Oh, well, there you go.
And that's how they won.
Yes. Well,
they won that way because they were able to pick the Dreambreaker. They had enough faith in their mixed doubles partnerships to say, we'll throw them out there, but we want to pick for the Dreambreaker. So it doesn't happen often, and when it does, at least in that case, it was successful, and that was by committee,
right.
Not something he said he would have. He said he thought his son was crazy advising him to make that choice because it's not usual.
So I want to say something about Leigh Jansen here. I have had the privilege in my career of playing with some top players, Ben Johns, Riley Newman, a lot of tournaments with Deckel Bar, and I tell you what, it's very easy. They do a lot. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but it's also a lot of pressure. Leigh Jansen, I don't think, has played her best pickleball in this tournament, and even if Anna Leigh doesn't play her best game, it often comes down to it being your fault because her partner is so good. So there is a pressure factor. Easy to play with Anna Leigh, but also not easy to play with Anna Leigh. Let's see how she responds to that pressure in this match.
The 5's, of course, owned by the legendary figure Gary Vaynerchuk and Ryan Harwood, who is co-owner and GM, who you'll see on the sideline. Had a chance to speak with him leading into the matchup, and certainly a part of their draft process was selecting the young talent available to them in the pool. It's a theme of youth on their side. Over on the Bears side, owner Ritchie Tuazon, very involved owner. He's sitting on the bench for his team with his young daughter Tess. Very supportive ownership group, and we are getting set now for women's doubles. It is Leigh Jansen and Anna Leigh Waters on the 5's against Maggie Brascia and Andrea Koop in the all-white, playing for the California BLQK Bears. Andrea Koop right out of the gate. What defense from Anna Leigh Waters, running down a couple of those overheads.
Well, and I know you mentioned the pressure that Leigh Jansen might feel playing alongside Anna Leigh Waters. They had an outstanding match, though, a comeback win last night against Elise Jones and Simone Jardim, so they should be feeling a little bit more confident in their partnership today.
Leigh Jansen getting in some trouble early, but the pressure of the Bears too good in that one.
Yes, and I expect that to be a common matchup. Andrea Koop attacks cross-court as much as anyone. Will Leigh Jansen be able to handle those cross-court attacks?
Oh, Maggie Brascia finds the backside of Anna Leigh Waters, who is pinching over to the left. We had a discussion with her mom, Leigh Waters, on that. Cameron, what do you see strategy-wise there?
Well, and I think that's one of the big questions, and Leigh mentioned it herself in terms of Maggie Brascia. She's a little bit more of the unknown on the court right now in terms of how she approaches the game, where the speed-ups are going to come from.
Andrea Koop once again finds the corner on Waters.
And that's one of the big reasons. Again, Maggie Brascia was not able to compete back at MLP Mesa. She's been an addition, and a nice addition here in Daytona Beach, really propelling this team. Great hands and defense, but also plenty of pop off her paddle.
Took every ounce of effort for the 5's to finish that point. Anna Leigh Waters coming away, but they had to earn it.
That's exactly right. And you can't just hit through anyone. They had incredible offense early on, neutralized by the Black Bears. You have to spread them out and then find your spot. Nice job, Anna Leigh Waters.
Maggie Brascia finds the wide open court, and this is where the 5's did get into some trouble last night in the quarterfinal round on the forehand side of Anna Leigh Waters, who's basically inviting whoever plays her to test that forehand side. She likes it, but has gotten beat there a couple of times.
Well, and I think one of the big elements for this matchup is, as much as we talk about defense, I also think there's going to be an element that the Black Bears have to find some offense. They mentioned that Andrea Koop, a little bit more known to be defensive, as is Maggie Brascia. They're going to need to look for some spots where they can be the aggressor. That's a great look right there from Andrea Koop out of the middle. Take a look at this. She sets up a nice dink at the kitchen, then the counter, and it's going her direction. But again, how often can you counter and just continue to win points?
Annalie Waters answering right back.
Just amazing power from Annalie Waters right at the shoulder level. Hits such a clean ball, always in the sweet spot, and just getting on her opponent so quickly.
Annalie Waters so big on the forehand, just as much so on the backhand.
Yeah, so good again from Annalie Waters. And I'm going to give a shout out to Dominic Catalano, a member of the broadcast crew who played with Annalie Waters, and I was able to defeat them. I'm about 0-10 against Annalie since. So what I'm trying to say is that was Dom's fault. So Dom, if you're listening, sorry I had to roast you, buddy, but Annalie Waters, the progression in her game has just been absolutely ridiculous, and I've been here for the entire growth. Just such a quality player.
Oh, Annalie Waters so good and powerful on the counterattack when she speeds things up.
Well, and again, this is why I mentioned being the aggressor, the attacker, because the New Jersey 5's are surely going to do that. It's just a matter of Koop and Brascia hanging on. Maybe they can start to counter some more of those.
Andrea Koop, one of the best in the game. That ball is wide. She won a national championship, Koop did, with UCLA back in 2008 with the Bruins.
Yes, that third floating up a little too much. Andrea Koop not able to get established at the kitchen line, and Annalie Waters with a nice mid-paced attack to keep the pressure on. That's the old spread them out and then find a hole. I told you, you cannot hit through these ladies. You have to set up your points. You have to construct. It could be 2, 3, 4 shots, setting up one shot that you want. And Maggie Brascia, phenomenal job pulling Annalie Waters out wide and then finding the middle.
Just wide for Waters, and the Black Bears with a comfortable 4-point lead.
Yeah, and I love the movement right there from Andrea Koop. Really aggressive with her footwork pattern, getting to that forehand through the middle.
Oh, the leaping backhand of Annalie Waters, so impressive.
Yes, and we have two of the best players in the world at a right side, strong side. Normally the left player is dominant, but Annalie Waters and here in a few moments Dylan Frazier, two of the best in the game at being aggressive and squeezing the middle from the right side of the court.
Which does leave a potential vulnerability, opening up that alleyway down the line for Andrea Koop, rather. We'll see. They continue to try to exploit that.
Andrea Koop was lined up and ready that time to target Leigh Jansen. Nice job by Andrea Koop on this ball. Watch her movement right here, recognizing the two-hand speed up off the bounce. It's well disguised from Annalie Waters, but Koop that much more prepared, expecting it, and actually sliding to the middle. Oftentimes players will slide to their forehand from that left side to be able to counter, but Koop with a great slide the opposite direction.
And I would say, as we see the Andrea Koop player profile on the screen, and I would say that Leigh Jansen was a little too far off the kitchen line, as when Andrea Koop is attacking cross court, Leigh has a little bit extra time, so I would like to see her hold that line a little bit more when Andrea Koop decides to counterattack cross court.
Black Bears the first team to 11, so we will have a change of ends. And the Bears, no doubt, had an advantage in scouting the 5's last night in their quarterfinal matchup. Leigh Jansen, a part of that. Her 6th rank in terms of duper. She's 30 years old and the eldest on the team for the 5's, which is certainly not old by any means.
Yeah, and talking about Leigh, like you just mentioned, her kind of coming off the kitchen line, one of those roles is Leigh has to, drop back to create space for Annalie Waters. That's been a huge part of the conversation. But the ability to get back to the line, the timing, the spacing, it's all a dance with Annalie Waters right now. And when it's still one of those newer partnerships, that's where that dance becomes a little bit more nuanced.
Koop goes into that time, the 5's.
Yes, and a nice job by Leigh Jansen there. Much more well-struck counterattack, more pace, more pop, handcuffing Koop.
Andrea Koop going right at Annalie Waters.
And fortunate with some let tape, but nice to see her switch up. She's not going to only target Leigh on the cross court with attacks. She has to sprinkle in a few at Annalie Waters.
Bears with another point. Maggie Brascia, by the way, still a full-time college student, balancing her schoolwork at Concordia University, Irvine, excuse me. Thinking of Jesse Irvin.
Exactly.
And the Black Bears so far holding court. However, rally scoring is a dangerous entity. We saw the St. Louis Shock, who seemed to be running away with the women's doubles matchup, and they lost. Koop doing a wonderful job keeping Leigh Jansen at the baseline.
Michelle, that is rule 23C of pro pickleball. You do not lob twice in the same point. Annalie Waters with a great cross-court lob. Initially, she's kind of been working that into her game, but then the second lob over Koop, a little suspect.
So the game I was referencing earlier, a timeout called on the floor and the court for the 5's. Simone Jargim and Elise Jones were the first team out against the 5's in last night's quarterfinal round. It seemed like Jargim and Jones had figured out the game plan against Annalie Waters and Leigh Jansen. Then they dropped that game, and it was downhill from there. So this women's doubles game is so crucial. My point here is, though Brascia and Koop have had the lead most of this game, do not count AL and Leigh Jansen out of this one. So in order for the Bears to continue with this run and this momentum, what's working on their side?
Well, I think importantly too, you need to take a look, as you mentioned, the matchup last night for Leigh Jansen and Annalie Waters. Some of the difficulty for them came at the hand of Annalie Waters. Leigh said it herself. Annalie was playing at Mach 10. Those are her exact words. She had to get calmed down. She was so amped up, and I don't think that's actually necessarily the case right now. So there's going to be a different solution on the side for the 5's. I'm curious to see exactly where that might come about. They aren't utilizing the right side of Annalie Waters too often right now. So again, completely different game. However, I'm very impressed with Maggie and Andrea Koop and the pressure they're applying, some of the counter attacks and the two-hand backhand of Koop.
Oh, Maggie Brascia answering the door that time.
Yes, so good finding the middle of the court from Maggie Brascia. And often when we are hopping off the kitchen life to give ourselves more time, Andrea Koop, she was moving backwards in an incredible block early in that point.
Annalie Waters wasn't going to lose that point.
Well, and I will say, too, one of the things that they can and just looked to in the previous rally in terms of the New Jersey 5's is last night, Leigh Jansen had about 4 shots speed up the line at Elise Jones. That's what turned the page, according to Leigh. She just tried to take a shot at Maggie Brascia, who answered the call, though.
Yeah, this time, though, Maggie Brascia late getting to the kitchen line and a phenomenal inside-out backhand drive from Annalie, catching her in transition. Always an issue when that first volley is coming from the transition zone and not the kitchen line.
Oh, the net cord just going in favor of Leigh Jansen. Andrea Koop, nothing you can do about that.
I don't think the crowd ever cheers louder than they do for a net cord.
Ryan Harwood says they have lots of V friends in the house. Nobody's surprised. A firefight, and the golden rule broken on the side of Andrea Koop, lobbing maybe 3 times at that point, but the 5's so good that time.
Yeah, it's very true, Michelle. A little different when you're in the back of the court. They didn't have a whole lot of options, but definitely the lob is usually the last of those options when you're scrambling. But hey, you got to throw it up sometimes when the situation's dire.
They almost came away with it. I was hoping they'd break the rule and then prove you wrong, but they didn't. I'm just kidding. Finding the middle was Maggie Brascia, who has been rock solid on her side of the court.
I'm really impressed with all 4 of these ladies right now, just in terms of some of these hands battles. We always use the word outstretched, right? And I think that's something that's critical in the game of pickleball, because the ability to not only volley on your body, but also from an outstretched position. These 4 doing a really nice job on some of those contacts.
Just long for Andrea Koop, and here come the 5's.
You knew they were going to come. There's just no doubt about it. Too much talent to just let this one be a blowout, and they have creeped within 2.
Ooh, Koop was working Annalie Waters side to side. A miss there for Jansen. And so the Bears stay on top by 3.
Yeah, tough spot for Jansen, all the way in the back of the court, and also Annalie making a stab with her to come to the middle of the court with the 2-handed backhand could have possibly thrown off Jansen's rhythm.
Jansen answers right back.
And I would say 3 or 4 kind of half earnies from Leigh Jansen. We saw a couple early in the match, so showing off her athleticism for sure. And when you have that 2-handed backhand of Annalie in the middle, it gives you more of that free reign to be athletic at the earnie position.
Jansen played college tennis at Washington State University. Annalie Waters bringing that big forehand, playing singles.
Here's a good look, though, at the dipping ball. That's actually the setup from Leigh Jansen. So as much as the Annalie Waters ball is impressive, great shot and stroke from Leigh Jansen.
Annalie Waters slaps the ball between Maggie Brascia's legs, and now the momentum has completely turned in favor of the 5's. They do this nearly every time.
Well, and the amount of anticipation, which equates to preparation from Leigh Jansen there on the counter, really opening up that forehand. That was a difference maker in that hands battle.
Ball was called out of bounds, and Koop is looking to challenge. Why wouldn't you? You're at the end of the game. You have 2 free ones.
And Federico Staksrud held his hand up pretty quickly, and I'm not sure if that was because, exactly like you said, Michelle, end of the game, or he for sure saw it in.
And you have 10 seconds to challenge. The captain has to do it within 10 seconds to the referee. You can no longer defer to the referee to ask him for confirmation, he or she, whether they saw it in or out. And let's have another look at this ball that is
wide.
Yeah,
just
looking
slightly
out.
wide.
Yeah, I believe
That's
it.
as close as it gets, though.
Certainly.
And from the backside of the ball where Federico Staksrud was standing, that it always looks more in from the back vantage point than it does directly on the sideline.
Sure, and you have the MLP banner and also the post. So where the vantage point of Federico Staksrud was a little blocked. So a tough call for him, even though he was in a good position to see it.
Worth a free challenge, I would think, as you're this late in the game. Koop and Brascia had a healthy 3 to 4 point lead for most of this game. And then here comes Leigh, Jansen, and Annalie Waters. They just don't go away. They're persistent in their pursuit. What's changed on their side, Cameron?
Well, you said it yourself. Just so aggressive in terms of their pursuit. I think some of the preparedness and that dance has been really critical for Leigh Jansen, as that call is definitely confirmed out of bounds. So I think some of that in terms of expecting the cross-court counter and speed up from Andrea Koop for Leigh Jansen has been some of those points turning their direction.
Yeah, and sometimes there's just natural ebbs and flows. You get up a couple points, the other team comes back, and sure, the first half of the match, the Black Bears definitely on their toes and slightly more on their heels these last few, and that's a testament to the quality of play from the 5's, forcing them off of the toes and onto the heels.
Brascia just catches the sideline that time to tie it up.
Well, speaking of ebbs and flows, I also think that's another good reason to use that challenge, right? This game is so rhythmic. It has so much that is 1 point to the next point and starting to stack those. So I think it's a nice opportunity for the Black Bears to change the momentum.
Oh. Oh, point of the game so far. Andrea Koop and her defense on display that entire point.
I just threw my pencil. Unbelievable point from the ladies. I thought it was over 4 or 5 times. So good. And Andrea Koop with the finishing blow. MLP, there's nothing else like it. Listen to these fans.
Somebody get this man a new pencil. Andrea Koop back to serve to Leigh Jansen, 2 points away from game number 1. Oh my goodness, everybody take a breath. These points are incredible. And the Black Bears knocking on the door for a game 1 win.
Well, and it was almost identical to what we saw in the previous rally. The outstanding defense from the baseline from Koop and Brascia. They just continued the track. I also, as much as we mentioned the defense of Koop, I mean, Maggie Brascia is seeing the ball just as often on that right side. The little half volley she's picking up just off the ground. Incredible touch from that woman right there, Maggie Brascia. Brascia.
Yes, and if I would say anything, obviously this is picking nits, but if there's anything about Anna-Leigh Waters, it's that traditional full-on overhead that doesn't quite have as much power as some of the ex-high-level tennis players. Now, from the shoulder or head position off to the side, incredible power from Anna-Leigh Waters, and also a couple questionable drop shots mixed in from Anna-Leigh Waters as well.
There was one in each of those last two. The first went to Maggie Brascia, and the second went to Andrea Koop, inviting them back in.
It is close quarters here on championship court as Maggie Brascia, perhaps the unsuspecting hero on her side, to Anna-Leigh Waters. Oh, Koop goes toe-to-toe, and Anna-Leigh Waters shows up when her team needs it the most.
Exactly right. Nice combination from Anna-Leigh Waters. I was waiting to see who was going to pull the trigger, and not surprising at all, it was Anna-Leigh Waters doing so.
When Anna-Leigh Waters speeds it up like that, should Koop then go to Jansen?
Try to.
If you can.
Difficult, very difficult with the quality of speed-ups from Anna-Leigh.
Andrea Koop. How about the hands of Maggie Brascia, though?
Unreal. Andrea Koop, again, the difference in this one, when Andrea Koop slides and finds her backhand, she's much more able to bring that ball cross-court. That's why you see the cross-court counter right here by Andrea Koop. Earlier, she tried to slide forehand, and that ball got back to Anna-Leigh Waters.
Oh my goodness, Maggie Brascia is barely missing.
Yes.
And so, another chance for the 5's to earn some points here on their serve. Oh, Leigh Jansen speeds it up on Koop and gets the point.
Yeah, it's been a while since Maggie Brascia decided to attack straight ahead, and Leigh Jansen, she's been rolling those dinks cross court to Anna-Leigh, and she went for the offense there, and Leigh Jansen up to the task.
Just long. Oh no, it was in. So sorry. We have a tie game on championship court. Adam and Cameron, it's like deja vu from what we saw last night with the St. Louis Shock, who were nearly in the same exact situation as Koop and Brascia.
20.
Andrea Koop answering right back.
Yeah, and again, there's that slide. This time it's the forehand, but she finds the right shoulder of Anna-Leigh Waters right here, right on the body. I will say, too, impressed with the play of Andrea Koop, being able to cut some of these balls out of the air so she can hold her court position on that left side.
Andrea Koop will take the bounce off the net. The ball is good, and so the Bears now on top by 1 with a chance to win game 1. Koop, a litigation lawyer during the day and pro pickleballer here. Oh. jumping out of your flip-flops, Adam.
Well, unbelievable display there. And early and mid parts of that point, they were trying so hard from the back of the court to get it to Leigh Jansen, and the court coverage of Annalie Waters to control the kitchen line was so good. We see her shot making, we see her power on these balls, but her movement around the court is absolutely world class.
20-21.
Chance to tie it here, and they do. Annalie Waters cannot be beaten.
World class is absolutely right. She's creating these opportunities all on her own.
21-21.
Leigh Jansen wants a piece of the action. And now the 5's on top.
Yes, Michelle, and just another advantage of that movement from Annalie and the presence in the middle. Full load on the forehand for Leigh Jansen makes her so much more comfortable being able to disregard the backhand side.
The 5's could close it here. Oh, Andrea Koop with everything on the line, splits the difference down the middle.
Unreal play right here from Andrea Koop and Annalie Waters. They're just going head-to-head, covering both of them about 60% of the court. If you're Annalie, it's almost 70% at this point.
Koop speeds it up to the forehand of Annalie Waters and is prepared for an even faster ball to come back to her backhand. Beautifully executed. Oh, boy, that ball is out of bounds, and Leigh Jansen can't believe that she missed it.
Well, and I think there was a little bit of hesitancy from Leigh Jansen because she thought that ball could have been out of bounds, and so she paused right on her overhead, and it threw her off a bit.
Right, Cameron, and just a slight pitfall of sliding to your left is that it's an awkward court positioning. So your court awareness is a little bit lower when you're not in your center of your half, and sometimes that's difficult to let a ball go out. My goodness, this match is incredible.
Andrea Koop now with a chance to win game number 1 here for the Bears. Annalie Waters answers right back. Everything on the line, she's unfazed.
And again, we talk about patterns in pickleball. Annalie Waters is prepared now every time that she's seeing Andrea Koop go with a two-handed backhand. Watch her immediate slide middle. She's anticipating that ball going back the direction of Leigh Jansen, so just one step ahead right now in that regard.
Perhaps Koop will test the sideline then, the forehand side of Waters, to see if the pattern stays the same or mixes up. Oh, what a grab.
And they are not booing, they are cooping right now with the stands.
Of applause for that effort, Andrea Koop. And how about the support play of Maggie Brascia, who's not going to get credit in this one, but she came up in crucial moments.
Well, there was one ball that Adam and I were sitting here kicking ourselves going, oh dear, we thought it was out of bounds, and Maggie took it all out of the air and sent it back over. That was astonishing.
The hands on both sides. Andrea Koop and Annalie Waters firefighting to no end at the end of game number 1. Oh, a wide ball there. Andrea Koop Giving herself a break.
Yeah, she can't.
Saying that's the one you missed?
Yeah, she can't help but, after that previous point, she can't help but chuckle.
So Waters with a chance to tie it here for the 5s.
22-23.
She'll take the net bounce and the point.
And when you're hitting balls like that, Anna-Leigh, keep your foot on the gas. We've seen a couple bringing the opponents in and a couple lobs mixed in. I don't think that that's the time for it. Keep ripping away, Anna-Leigh.
Just long for Waters.
But remember that speed up, right? We talked about it probably 3-4 points ago for Andrea Koop. See the location, the two-hand backhand speed up, trying to find that space up the line. It's not easily done. You could see how kind of it was an awkward angle, well disguised from Andrea Koop.
And it took Anna-Leigh Waters a half second to adjust to the change, and maybe that's just the time that Koop needed to create the error. Leigh Jansen getting in the firefight, uses the net. She'll take it.
Yes, and I just have never seen in a high-level women's match so much court covered, especially from the right side from one player. Even in the old-school days of Simone Jargin playing left and taking so much court, this is incredible display from Anna-Leigh Waters.
Oh, Andrea Koop finds the middle, puts it away, and the Bears taking their turn with the serve.
Yeah, really impressed right here from Maggie Brascia, actually. I love the fact she stayed offensive. There was a contact. She could have let her foot off the gas as well, but instead add a little extra roll and topspin to her shot.
And I think in terms of a full-on overhead position, Maggie Brascia might have more power than Andrea Koop.
23-23.
Traditional scoring on both sides during the freeze. Andrea Koop finding the middle that time.
And Anna-Leigh Waters didn't really slide right here because it wasn't on her own speed up. So a great location for Koop, but man, Anna-Leigh Waters had been taking a lot of those balls through the middle. Just maybe didn't expect Leigh Jansen to be the one to speed up first.
Man, I just want this match to keep going. By far the best of the tournament. Somebody's got to win. Who's it going to be?
Let's do rally scoring to 31, shall we? We might get there. Anna-Leigh Waters says this game must continue to go on. Serve returns to the 5s.
This is just an unreal back and forth. Such a treat for us and everyone watching.
23-24.
Oh my goodness, so close. Gosh, these points are absolutely incredible. The degree of difficulty on both sides. And so the Bears with another chance to close it out.
Well, and not to mention, Michelle, the physicality required this late in a game, the exhaustion, the heat, everything starting to kick in.
Ritchie Tuazon, the owner of the Bears, watches on. Andrea Koop puts the team on her back and closes the doors. So the Bears take game number 1. This was so crucial for them to have a chance at the finals. Cameron Irwin, what did we just see here on championship court?
Some of the best hands battles we have seen to date between these 4 women. Just unreal play from Andrea Koop and Maggie Brascia. They brought it, and I love the location, the placement. I mean, the countering from Andrea Koop, the defense. They had everything working their direction.
Adam Stone, have you seen a better women's doubles match than the one we just saw?
Take the women's out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've seen a better match.
And that guy.
Well, I'm saying I'm a men's doubles. I'm a men's doubles specialist. I'm garbage at mixed, and I love men's doubles. It's my favorite. That was the best match I have ever seen.
Adam Stone, you heard it here first. We're surrounding him with ladies in the booth here today. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it. As we check in now with the third lady of our crew, the fourth member of our crew, top 50 current female pro, Cameron Blackwood, standing by with the winners who earned every inch of that game. Cameron.
I think Adam Stone said it best. They said was this the best women's doubles match we've ever seen? And they said, take out women's. That might have been the best doubles match we have ever seen. Andrea, how do you play in those big moments?
You know, the best part about MLP is you don't have to be named a certain somebody to have your moment. Irena's the MVP of MLP, and I'm just trying to channel my inner Irena.
And most of the balls were heading over to Andrea's side of the court, but how are you staying engaged in those pop-ups to make sure you're ready for the putaways?
Oh, I was just trying to be ready for any speed up coming my way and block it back.
Feel pretty composed here. Were you not excited in this moment?
Oh, I'm so excited. I kind of don't believe it, but we can do it.
There you have it. Bears go up 1-0 in that epic women's doubles match. We're coming right back with men's doubles. You do not want to go anywhere.